Should I buy a house or a condo? Today on the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, I'm going to explore both the pros and cons of both of these types of properties, and I hope by the end of this episode, you should have a really good idea of these property types and the pros and cons of each as you're making that buying decision.
This is the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, the show that highlights Saskatchewan real estate. Looking to buy your first house, your next investment property? Subscribe to never miss an episode. Here's your host, Ron Caroni.
Welcome back to the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Saskatchewan, all things real estate. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking out this video or audio podcast. Please feel free to use the comment section of this video to ask any questions. And if you're taking in this episode through audio, whether that's on Spotify or Apple or another platform, please feel free to send me an email to ron@ronqmortgage.ca if you have any questions. I promise I will respond. Today, I'm going to explore condos versus houses and the pros and cons of each. And hopefully by the end of this episode, you're going to have a really good understanding if you're in the home buying process to help you decide which one suits you best. Let's just start with defining condos and houses. What is a condo? A condo or condominium is a type of housing where you own an individual unit in a shared building or complex. You also share ownership and costs of common areas like hallways and amenities with other condo owners. A condo association manages the property, enforces rules, and collects fees to cover expenses. Condo living often includes community rules such as noise, pet, and renovation restrictions. It's a convenient option, especially in cities, and can mean less maintenance for individual owners. A house is a standalone individual dwelling that you own entirely. You have no shared ownership or common areas with neighbors. You are responsible for all maintenance and expenses. Houses are typically located in various settings from urban neighborhoods to suburban and rural regions. You have more freedom in how you use and maintain your property. All right, let's kick things off with the pros of a condo. Condos are often more affordable than houses. It's much easier and faster for a builder to make 50 condos than it is to make 50 houses. Because of shared building costs, smaller spaces, and more efficient land utilization, condo or townhouse units are generally going to come in at a better price point than houses. Condo living means less exterior maintenance. No need to mow the lawn or shovel the snow. Typically, your condo association takes care of these tasks. This is really awesome if you love to travel or are a long-distance investor. Talking about amenities, many condos offer amenities like gyms, pools, and communal spaces, which can add value to your daily life without having to fund these amenities all by yourself. Security. Condos often have security features like security cameras, restricted access to buildings. In some cases, there's gated access and on-site personnel, providing residents with peace of mind. Keep in mind, though, you are also potentially living much closer to your neighbors. Another pro of living in a condo is location. Condos are frequently located in urban areas, providing easy access to work, entertainment, and public transportation. This gives you good access to day-to-day shopping and transit and can limit the need for a vehicle. And lastly, community. Condo living can foster a strong sense of community with neighbors, promoting social interaction and support networks. This can be highly dependent, though, on your neighbors, so keep that in mind as we're touching on that pro. Moving on to the cons of a condo. Condo fees. This is the number one thing I hear when people talk about owning a condo is condo fees. Condo owners are required to pay monthly condo fees covering shared expenses like maintenance and amenities. I'd like to expand on this one a little more because I think it is a myth that condos charge these crazy fees, and if you buy a condo, you're going to get stuck with these exorbitant fees. So I wanted to break this down a little bit. In general, your condo fees are going to cover expenses that you would incur no matter what: insurance, utilities, building maintenance. The big danger of condo fees is if you don't carefully go through the condo's financials ahead of buying, you could be stuck with future maintenance costs that the previous condo board ignored. This can result in cash calls where you are forced to come up with a lump sum of money to cover an unexpected expense. My advice, don't be afraid of condo fees, but be darn sure you understand the condo board's financial situation before purchasing so you're not surprised later on. Another con of condos is limited privacy. Living close to your neighbors means less privacy compared to a house. Thin walls and shared common areas can lead to noise and other disturbances. This is highly dependent on your neighbors, but shared walls limits the amount of privacy that you have. Rules and regulations. Condo associations have rules and regulations that residents must follow, affecting your freedom to make changes to your property or conduct certain activities. For example, when I lived in a condo, there was a limitation on the type of flooring that owners on the second and third floor could install to limit the noise transfer between units. This can limit your reno options. The same thing existed that you weren't able to run an Airbnb out of this specific condo building. So keep that in mind as you're buying a condo. Is it going to fit the things that you want to do in it? Moving on to resale value. Now, this is a very broad one, but condos may not appreciate in value as quickly as houses, making them less lucrative long-term investments. As previously stated, it's much easier to build condos than it is houses, which can lead to a larger supply, which does limit price appreciation. If we're talking about a con about a condo, typically we're going to have less space when comparing it to a house, which can be challenging for families or those who desire more room for storage and activities. And limited outdoor space. If you love gardening or outdoor activities, condos offer limited outdoor space such as balconies or small patios. And in some cases, there might be restrictions with what you can even do on your balcony. All right, moving on to the pros of buying a house. The biggest pro when talking about a house, in my opinion, is ownership and control. When you buy a house, you have complete ownership and control over the property, allowing you to make changes and renovations as you see fit as the homeowner, and you're only limited by the city or municipality. Keeping in mind, like even a city like Saskatchewan is not going to allow you to build a 4-story house. So there's still restrictions on what you can do, but as far as what happens inside the house, you're not as limited as you would be in a condo. This is a massive pro, and it allows you future control over your space. And at the end of the day, you're never going to have this level of freedom owning a townhouse or a condo. Another big benefit of single-family homes is privacy. Houses typically offer more privacy compared to condos. You're less likely to hear your neighbors through walls, and you're also able to add partitions outside in your backyard, and you have one access to the home. Having a house also gives you more freedom when hosting parties and events, and you don't have to worry about offending your neighbors as much. Outdoor space. Houses often come with more extensive outdoor spaces, such as yards and gardens. This makes it more ideal for families with kids who want a place for them to play outside without needing to go to a park. And if you love gardening, you won't be limited to a balcony or patio. We kind of touched on this one with condos, but appreciation. Historically, houses tend to appreciate more in value over time, making them potentially more lucrative long-term investments. And this brings us back to building versus houses. Because houses are more time-intensive and expensive to build, there is a higher chance for that appreciation long-term. Space. Houses are generally more spacious than condos, providing ample room for storage, growing family, and activities, and no association fees. Unlike condos, houses typically don't require monthly association fees, giving you more control over your ongoing expenses. Although, if you do not have a condo association saving money for you, it now falls on you, the homeowner, to set aside the funds for the repair of the home. For example, if you're shelling out $10,000 for a new roof every 20 years, you are going to need to be budgeting and setting that money aside. All right, so that touches on most of the pros of owning a home, but let's touch on some of the negatives. The big negative for buying a house is a higher initial cost. Houses are typically more expensive to purchase upfront, which can be a significant barrier for first-time home buyers. You're also on the hook for any large repairs, as we previously mentioned. If you need to do the siding, if there's anything that happens with the structure of the building, you're the one who has to make those repairs. A con of owning a home is maintenance. Homeowners are responsible for all maintenance tasks, including lawn care, repairs, and upkeep, and especially in Saskatchewan, clearing off that snow, which can be time consuming and costly. And if you want to go travel a lot, you're going to have to make sure that some of this stuff is taken care of if you're taking log absences from your property. Location. Houses in urban areas may be more out of the way than condos and townhouses. You're definitely not going to find a house in the downtown of a city, while that might be available for you in a condo setting. And lastly, less amenities. Houses generally don't offer the amenities that you're going to find in a condo complex, like gyms, pools, common areas, unless you're going to upfront the cost of these items yourself, which, unless you have a lot of money, is not going to be feasible. So in summary, it's really going to come down to a few important points. What is your budget? Do you have enough money to make a house a possibility when purchasing? What lifestyle are you planning on living? If you're gone from home a lot and will not be able to keep up with the yard work, a townhouse or a condo might be your only option. How well can you handle your neighbor disputes? While this can happen in houses as well, the nature of condo living puts you in direct contact with people you may not get along with. And how much future flexibility do you require? If customizing is important to you, a condo might limit your ability to make changes in the future, while a home might allow you to expand or make those different changes without too much upset. Here's my opinion. If you have not entered the housing market yet, a condo is a great way to get your toe in the water because you're likely living in a very similar place, an apartment, you're renting it. This gives you the ability to get out of renting and to start building some equity for yourself. After that time, you can evaluate your living situation, and if you find that the cons of condo living are starting to add up, you can start that long-term planning to purchase a single family home, maybe even one with a basement suite to help you with affordability as you make that transition. Remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer when it comes to condos versus houses. There are excellent reasons to own a condo. There's also great reasons to own a house. The right choice is highly individual and depends on your unique circumstances and priorities. If you're looking for a little help on deciding whether you should buy a condo or a house, this is a great opportunity for you to introduce yourself to a realtor and say, hey, by the way, I'm looking at getting into the housing market. Can you help me decide whether I should buy a condo or a townhouse? From there, that realtor is likely going to pass my number along, and we're going to start you along the pre-approval process to see what you can get qualified for and see what your specific price range is. So keep that in mind as you're going throughout your week and you're looking at buying some real estate. And I hope this episode has been informative for you and you've learned the difference between condos and townhouses. As I said before, if you have any questions when it comes to that, please don't hesitate to email me, ron@ronqmortgage.ca. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. I hope you found it informative and you found some value here. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to never miss our weekly episodes that come out every single Monday. If you're in the market for a mortgage in Saskatchewan, I am a licensed mortgage broker. I can help you with your next home purchase, renewal, or refinance. Until next week, I'm Ron Curoni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional. Bye for now.